answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of The Outsiders. I'm your host Sean Sims, and I'm with my superstar co-host Marvin Doc Cheatham. Doc, how's things going?
I woke up, I can't say I'm in the right mind, but I'm praising the Lord that I woke up.
Yes, sir. Well, a lot's going on, and there's a lot been going on recently. We're going to talk today, we're going to talk about Key Bridge and some maritime information. This is stuff that's going on that's international that people aren't aware of, so we're going to talk about that as well. We got some encouraging words. We've got some actually words of wisdom from, of all people, Arnold Schwarzenegger. So we have some words of wisdom from him, actually biblical principles as well. And Tiffany Henyard, super mayor, this Tiffany Henyard woman outside of Chicago. We're going to be discussing her and the protest of employees' lives and Rights Matter protest, which is going to be happening in front of the Circuit Court for Baltimore City downtown, April the 30th, Tuesday, April the 30th at 12 noon. So we're going to be talking about that, and our guest is going to be, and she's running for the 7th District Council, and her name is Tori Rose. Tori Rose did really well last time around, just a smidge. She just fell short just a smidge the last time around, but I believe she's going to bring it home. She's got some really good people working with her. And Doc, I want to talk about what's going on, because we have to, because we're big fans of the Baltimore Orioles. They're 12-6, just behind the Yankees. So
the best team money can buy.
Yeah, that's how they get their championship teams. They find players, right, and buy them from other places, just buy up everything. And it didn't work very well last year. Weren't they in the basement? But the Yankees are in first, just by, I mean, a hair. They're 13-6. We're 12-6. So and of course they brought up Jackson Holiday. And Cowser, this guy Cowser is, I mean, he's lighting it up.
He is looking really good, but
wow.
I'm gonna be uncandid when it comes to issues. I really think Holiday needs to be sent back down.
Oh, because his batting average is so low?
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure for young folks when they come up, to want to achieve. You have your family and all your friends there, but it's a different ball game getting into pros and being into AAA, and I just think it's too much pressure on him at this point.
Well, we'll see. I mean, Colton Cowser is rolling right along, and a lot of times you have guys who, even with experience, they start off slow. So I don't know. Give it a little bit more time, Doc. I say give him a little bit more time before you send him back.
Patience is not one of my virtues.
Yeah, I've noticed. but
I'm sorry about that.
But I've grown to have a lot of patience with, especially with certain things that are going on, and I'll just let those people know I'm patient. I'm like a sniper. I'll just wait and wait and wait and wait.
I don't know whether or not you've heard it. It just came off the news, but there was a possibility of an individual killing some students in, I think it's Montgomery County. Not the hearing, but the news media and the police just unveiled it. But this guy had a dossier of about to kill students in 2 schools, allegedly. Yeah, allegedly is 126, 129 pages. And yeah, he was 18 years old. They said he's transgender. So that issue is at hand as well. 129 pages.
He said, nah, it was just fiction. I was just writing, I was just writing a book. Oh, I saw that, Doc. So
it's too much similarities with another case. So I'm going to look at this very, very carefully. And you did mention one thing. This young girl that played basketball, I would have to admit, they need to pay her well because women's basketball is the hottest thing in sports.
Which one are you talking about? This is what I noticed. I'll say this before I ask this question. This is what I noticed. I noticed that Fox 45, when the basketball came on with the women's basketball, after South Carolina won the championship and whooped Iowa, that they focused on the girl with Iowa, and they gave a focus on her. They started the story off with her as well, and they gave a sideline to Angel Reese, who's actually from Baltimore, I believe, and they gave like a sideline her, and they focused on the Iowa girl. Then I noticed that WBAL covered it, or was it Jay-Z? I believe it was Jay-Z. I'm going to give him credit where credit's due. They covered it, though it was Jay-Z. They covered it the way it should have been covered. They focused on Angel Reese. They focused on her, and they didn't focus on a young lady from Iowa. I didn't understand. What is with Fox? No wonder you get this racial thing put up against you, because I thought that didn't make any sense. Like, why are you focusing on a girl from Iowa and not Angel Reese in the storyline for women's basketball? Doc, what do you think?
Well, I really think it should be hands-off. If there's anything that has brought us together as dark skin and light skin and white skin and all kind of people, it's been through entertainment, sports, and athletics.
Yes.
And, I think it really should be hands-off. It's no secret, that I'm fighting a battle to try to bring back the concept of Arthur Ashe changing tennis when black kids saw that they could play tennis, not better necessarily, but they could play tennis just like white folks. Well, that's what I'm trying to do when it comes to skateboarding. The number one skateboarder in the world, folks that are listening, is an African American.
Yes.
His name is Nigel Houston. But because he is black, he is not getting anything. And sadly enough, we got a state senator named Antonio Hayes that seemingly don't like black folks, and it's the one who stopped a skateboard park, the only skateboard park that will be in a predominantly black neighborhood in the state of Maryland. And a purported black man is the one who stopped it.
Pumpkinhead, yeah, he did stop it. Just stopped it dead in its tracks. It was ready to go, funded, approved. The funding was approved. The whole thing was approved, and then he jumped in.
It was shovel-ready. We were waiting for the date of the groundbreaking.
Exactly, and he jumped in and did that. And of course, Sheila Dixon touted him at the Forum event that they had at 1505 Utah Place, Baltimore Unity Center, I believe, and she touted him and said, well, you know what, Antonio Hayes, I mentored him, and I'm like, yeah, there you go. Another reason not to vote for Sheila Dixon. She brought in this cancer, Antonio Hayes. Sheila Dixon brought him in. So another reason not to vote for Sheila Dixon. And Doc, just like you said, the number one skateboarder is an African American. And guess what, Doc? Because people don't know this. The number one race car driver. Let me say this again. I don't mean NASCAR. I'm not talking about Bubba Wallace. And I'm a NASCAR fan. The number one racer, Formula One racer in the world is Lewis Hamilton, and he is black. Okay, so Doc, you make a very, very good point. Lewis Hamilton.
You added the icing on the cake, but we're not making any of this a race issue.
No,
we're just saying
be fair.
We're asking and demanding for justice.
Justice
we're
and
asking
fairness.
and demanding for equity.
Yes, justice, fairness, and equity. That's the demand. That's why we're making these points for you haters out there on Facebook. Doc, you should see the haters on Facebook. For the most part, our show gets a lot of kudos. I mean, the positive energy I get back from people and how they feel about the show is positive. But every now and then, you get a hater. One guy had a problem with the fact that I was a Christian. I mean, he had an issue with that.
didn't want to tell you this, but I guess you probably would guess it anyway. I've had 8 death threats, and I did get a death threat as a result of last week's show.
Oh, wow. Hey, yeah, see, that craziness that goes on, and what happens in life, and I'm going to segue into Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm going to headway into the Austrian Oak. I'm going to make this an Austrian Oak just for a few minutes, people.
You talking about I'll be back?
Arnold, I'll be back. Get to the chopper. Now, Arnold said something, and he had an interview with Howard Stern. And in this interview with Howard Stern, he discussed people these days and how basically Americans and folks have become so soft, and they get offended so easily, and they think life is just going to be a cupcake session, and they're supposed to have it so easy. But I tell you what, folks, you look over here, and I'm pointing to it. I'm pointing to this picture back here of Mr. Maryland, where I competed in. I competed in several competitions in the day. Like Arnold. Arnold was actually one of my inspirations to get into bodybuilding. And let me tell you something. You don't know nothing for nothing until you've gotten yourself prepared physically and mentally to be in a bodybuilding competition. As well, I've played other sports as well, but this is another level. And Arnold is you got to hear what he has to say. And I think it's not only pointed, but he has biblical principles. He doesn't quote the Bible, but these are biblical principles, and I agree wholeheartedly. So let's listen to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Cue it up.
What do you make of this Ozempic? Ozempic seems like it's avoiding the big issue.
To me, it's all about hard work. That's why I say in my book, work your ass off. And because there's no shortcut. And you have to kind of put the work in. And I talked earlier about the bicep. The more you kind of torture the bicep, the more resistance you give it, and the more pain there is, the more it grows. The same is with us, with the human mind. The human mind can only really grow through resistance. You can only strengthen your character, become a really strong person inside if you have resistance. If you fail, if you get up again, and if you work hard, and if you work your ass off, and if you struggle, the more you struggle, the further you're going to go, and the stronger you're going to get. So this is just the way the rule works. Anyone that tries to baby themselves, and pamper themselves, and trying to protect themselves, oh, I don't want to feel bad, or I don't really want to go through any discomfort, it's over. You're never going to get there. That's just the way it is. I mean, you have to be able to struggle, and if you're not able to, work on that, that you're learning how to accept pain, misery, discomfort, all of the things that you don't like, because the more you experience the things that you really don't like, the more you can grow, and the tougher you get, and the more you can handle. And it's just that simple. So many young kids today kind of shy away from that. But you have to be attracted to that. Now just think about, and I talk about that in the book, I mean, what built this country? What built this country? Is it people that slept in? Is it people that were wimping out? Who says, oh, I want to feel good, I want to be comfortable. No, these were ballsy women and men that went out there at 5 in the morning and got up and they struggled and they fought and they worked their butts off. That's what made this country great. And so now let's continue this way. Don't start creating a generation of wimps and weak people and stuff like that, where we go into, we are concerned about how are you feeling today? I don't want to hurt your feelings. And also, well, it's nice to be considerate. Yes, I totally agree with that. But let's not over-baby the kids, and let's not over-baby kind of the people. I mean, let's go and teach kids to be tough, to go out and do sports, to go and study, to struggle, and, to go through this kind of painful moment sometimes.
I agree with Arnold. Those are biblical principles. Jesus went in the desert for 40 days and didn't eat and drink for 40 days. I mean, died on a cross, a crucifixion. And I don't know if you people understand what a crucifixion, the Romans' way of torturing and killing people, they were the best. They knew what they were doing. They knew how to deal out pain like you wouldn't believe. And that's what he went through in life as a man. The Word, second person in the Godhood, become flesh, became a man to come down here and die for our sins and go through that. Live as a human being, live as a man, 100% man, 100% God. You don't believe that? You don't believe that he died for your sins? Then you're doomed. I'll say it. Arnold would say you're doomed, and that's a biblical principle. You want something, you people out there, you want something. You want to do something, you just want to lay on your back, and like he said, it just be, oh, everything is just given to me, just handed to me, and spoiled. And I'm going to segue into spoiled brat. Xavier Conaway, spoiled brat. We're going to be protesting the spoiled brat, sexual harasser, enabler, promoter. Oh yeah, and I heard that the commissioner at the circuit court, I heard the commissioner had a meeting with the judges and left Xavier, the clerk of the court, left him out. Oops, ouch, that's gotta hurt. As a matter of fact, I heard he was upset, whining and crying and screaming, whining and crying and a hollering about how he should have been. No, it's called persona non grata. You look that up, boy. It's called persona non grata. Yeah, hold on, Doc, let me get you right. Okay, what were you saying, Doc?
I said you are hot today.
It's called the term American Psycho. You hear me? You hear me? It's called persona non grata. That's what you are. That's why they left you out of the meeting, you stupid idiot. Because you're a sexual harasser, enabler. That's what you do. That's what you've been doing since you got in the office, jackass. So now you want to wonder and whining and crying because you're a spoiled brat. Gee whiz, I wonder who spoiled you. Cupcake. Given the clerk's office did nothing. Given the clerk's, and I do mean given, okay? I mean given that office $120,000 a year, and he's torturing those people. That's why we're going to have a rally, a protest in front of the circuit court for Baltimore City, because employees' lives and rights matter. You can't get, oh, Doc, did you hear about this one? Since we're on the subject, and we're going to be calling Tori Rose in just a little bit, and she's going to touch on this as well. I'm going to ask her what she thinks of this. Did you hear that now? This is what word's getting back to me, that employees, judiciary, the judicial system, employees, and the judiciary, circuit court for Baltimore City have to work on Sundays and holidays now. Did you hear about this?
Say what? Say what?
They got to work on Sundays and holidays now.
Has that been negotiated with the union?
I don't know. I sent an email out to Bradley Tanner, didn't get a response on that. He's with the ALC Communications, Administrative Office of the Courts Communications, Media Personnel. Bradley Tanner didn't get anything back on that, sent that out. What's going on with this Sunday? Don't you have to, isn't there an annotated code that you have to adhere to with the state?
Oh, I'm saddened to hear that. You know, it's good that, you know, employment couldn't be enhanced and your salary and your take-home pay could be increased. But this is something that needs to be negotiated. It needs to be discussed. We need to figure out the benefits and the detriments to this. You know, I'm guessing, was there any negotiations with the union? You know, had the employees been discussed with this? Or is this another one of the dictations coming from someone? If I didn't know him better, I think this brother thinks he's a slaveholder.
I don't know, but I'm looking at, you know, I had psychology classes, and I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I'm not. But, I mean, and this is my opinion, you got borderline sociopathic tendencies, period. Any of you psychologists or psychiatrists listening, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know what I'm talking about. All of a sudden, you're making people come in on Sundays, of course, probably at a threat of being terminated because you've fired, I don't know how many people, just firing and disciplining people, you know, like crazy. And then you've got the issue with the sexual harassment enabling, multiple sexual harassment. Nobody wants to be around somebody who's enabling sexual harassment. You don't want to be around that person. And that's what you're promoting. Oh, yeah, and Sheila Dixon. That's who you have helping you in your campaign and backing your campaign is Xavier Conaway, a sexual harasser, enabler.
John, let me say this. I love Frank Conaway Sr.
He's a good guy.
Very good relationship. We didn't always agree. I'm happy to say that Frank Sr., I'm going to make it clear,
sure,
Frank
not
Sr.
Junior.
married my second wife and I. That's how close Frank and I were. This kid, Xavier, is not a chip off the old block. Matter of fact, he's probably the one, you know how they say it in animals, that he's the runt of the bunch. That's how I look at Xavier. He is not a chip off Frank Conaway Sr.
No.
It's definitely not.
No, Frank's turning in his grave. The way he's treating those people, a lot of those people work with Frank and work for Frank Conaway. And I would go to visit Frank. He actually had an open door, Xavier. Not like you lying, saying you were going to have an open door.
That just wasn't words. When you walked in that office, you saw Frank. If he was sitting at the desk, you saw him because the door was physically open. The door was open in his big chair, and he loved to talk to business deals because Frank and I, yeah, that's right, Xavier. Your grandfather and I would talk business, okay? I would go to his office, okay? He treated his people with respect. Was he perfect? No. But, oh my goodness, he's got to be turning in the grave with what you're doing. And another thing he did, and I don't know if you know this, Doc, there was a protest. And Frank Conaway, Sr., allowed the workers to protest on their lunchtime. He allowed. Is this kid going to do that? I seriously doubt it. He'll probably threaten people if you go on a protest. If you go to protest, I'm going to fire you. If you go to protest, I'm going to fire you. I'm going to get my administrative people, and we're going to meet with you in an office, and it's going to be 6 of us, 5 of us, and then we're going to discipline you. That's what he's doing. That's probably what. It wouldn't surprise me. But let me. What's that date again of our protest?
The protest is April the 30th at 12 noon, high noon. Elijah Cummings building, the Elijah Cummings building, in front of it, and we're going to protest this kid who's running roughshod, Title VII, Civil Rights, Amendment 14. He's just taken it and he's just ripped it apart. And that's what's going on.
I want to say to you, black men, you know, I don't think you're doing your due diligence and doing your homework on what is a civil rights issue and what is not a civil rights issue. But these employees that are working in that building, civil rights are being violated. And we're asking black men, you know, you picking and choosing. You shouldn't pick and choose. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice anywhere.
Exactly.
We're begging you on this day at 12 noon, come down and support us, black men. You can't pick and choose when you're going to fight for justice, and then on some days you're not. You got to go against injustice anywhere that you find it.
Exactly. I'm going to play something real quick. And it's involving sexual harassment in the workplace and elected officials. So let me just play this.
This year in Colorado, we have seen lawmakers and we've seen Denver's mayor accused of sexual harassment.
But one city is taking action. It has revamped its policy to deal with allegations against elected officials. Liz Gilardi is live with details on that, Liz.
Well, before Lakewood didn't have a policy to deal with sexual harassment allegations involving elected officials. The city is being proactive in the wake of numerous stories about harassment scandals, including a Denver 7 investigation that exposed harassment claims against Denver's mayor. Lakewood City Council just adopted a policy to handle these incidents when they do involve a government official. But Campaign to stop sexual harassment now includes the Chicago City Council. Today, aldermen passed an ordinance that holds them and other elected officials in Chicago accountable. CBS 2's Jim Williams reports those who violate the new law could be fined thousands of dollars.
Fraser City Council voted to throw Mayor Joe Nichols and Councilman Matt Himmelberg out of office.
They're out over allegations of inappropriate shoulder massages to female city employees, as well as comments that...
Well, see, that's what you have going on in this country. For whatever reason, these people are enabling, they're involved in this, and this MDEC program that's going on, this electronic court system program that's going on, I'm going to segue from the sexual harassment to what's going on with this, and these people are being made to come in on a Sunday and a holiday, and you have to pass, Doc, I don't know if you know this, but there's an audit that's done on the Maryland electronic court system. It has to be audited first. You got to pass the audit. It's got to pass the tech.
Did not know that. Did not know that.
Yes, you got to pass that. You have to pass the technical part and the audit. And if it comes back with the audit says, no, wait a minute, you've got certain things that are showing up in our audit where people and individuals and entities, I'll say entities, the mayor's office and the Baltimore City Council, they're paying fees for 30 years, I don't know how long, and you got to go into that system. Oh, and anybody, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm going to get in touch with the people who did the audit. I'm going to get in touch with them. But this is the word that got back to me, okay, that this audit's done, and their fees for 30 years being paid in by the mayor's office, attorney's fees, and they had to go into the system and they had to take it out. Last time I checked, that was fraud. And where's all those taxpayer monies and taxpayer dollars, Xavier, that you said that you were going to run an audit to find all the money and all the missing money when you got in the office, Xavier Conaway, young man? That's what you said you were going to do. So I've been trying to get this information, and they've been blocking me. The Public Information Act, the Maryland Public Information Act, and they've been blocking me from getting the information. I can't get the information, Doc, on the attorney's fees. Xavier didn't answer my email. He's hiding. You're hiding from me, Xavier. That's not good. No, 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 no. No, no, no. You can run, but you can't hide. And this is what's going on. And that audit needs to be passed. So are they going to have MDEC up online May the 6th? Well, even if they do, they're still going to check in to where did all those taxpayers dollars that went in from, the mayor's office and the Baltimore City Council, when they pay those funds out, isn't that taxpayers' money? I'm just trying to, maybe it's somebody else's money that's paying those fees. Maybe it's somebody else. I could be wrong, but
Sean, I'm going to say this. I've never done this before, but I'm really thirsty. I'm really hungry. I'm looking at this great dessert that's going to come up. When we're going to bring Tori Rose on?
We're getting ready to bring Tori Rose.
I'm so excited about this young lady.
Well, we're getting ready to bring her on. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and do that now. Maybe Tori, when she gets in,
chomping at the bit, as the old people would say.
Chomping out. When she gets in, maybe she can spearhead finding out what happened to all these fees that were paid since this electronic court needs to pass an audit. So let me go ahead and pull her number up. We're getting ready to call Tori Rose. She's our special guest running for the 7th Council District against Pigpen. James Torrance.
I think it's the best chemistry I ever had.
She's running against Pigpen, James Torrance, in the dirtiest district, the most calls for refuse trash all over the place, the dirtiest district in the dirtiest city, run by the dirtiest mayor, Slim Shady. So let's see if Tori can get in there and clean the dirt out. Let's go ahead. Okay, we're giving Tori Rose a call. She's running for the 7th. Oh wow. That was quick. Tori picked that up on the first ring. Tori Rose, welcome to the Outsiders. How you doing?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
We're doing good, Doc. Tori, you're waiting for her. Here she is.
We got Tori on the line.
He was chomping at the bit. He's like, when are you going to call Tori? I was like, okay. So Tori Rose running for the 7th District, Council District in Baltimore City. Tell us, Tori, how are things going right now with the campaign? I want to start off with that.
Things are going very, very well. I think there is always an assumption that when you're a community candidate going against an incumbent, that it's an uphill battle. That has not been what we've seen in this campaign, and we are very grateful for that. The community has been extremely honest and vocal that they don't feel represented by this incumbent. Mm-hmm. And so it's been very easy to engage with community. We got our signs maybe 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. We already have over 200 signs out in residents' yards. And so that in itself normally doesn't happen. It normally starts slow, and then there's an increase. But the week we got signs, we had people saying, we want signs, we want signs. We want to show that we're standing with the community candidate. And so I'm just very excited. Things are going very, very well. Mm-hmm. I thank both of you all and all of your listeners for support. We've had people walk up to us while we're in the mall, while we're in the shoppers, and just random places like, oh, I know you, you're Tori Rose. I voted for you 4 years ago, and I'm going to vote for you again. And so I'm very, very excited about what the community is doing, how we're moving, and I believe that in 4 weeks I'll be your next councilwoman for District 7.
I truly believe you will. We got to get rid of Pigpen. James Torrance. He's the incumbent. James Pigpen Torrance is the incumbent. Get him out. He has done a horrifically bad job. He and I went back and forth with email threads, and he's making up stuff, lies, so I know he's a liar. I've got the receipts. As Cat Williams would say, I don't know who you is, but I got the receipts. So
yeah, I think you bring a good point. What we're stressing to neighbors, regardless of what stats you hear and how eloquently it's put, ask yourself, where's the evidence? And so when you're looking in your community, you come outside your doors, can you see the manifested evidence mm-hmm. of what you're being told has been done for you over the last 3.5 years? And if we're honest, the truth to that is no, we don't see the evidence. So stats be what stats may be, we don't see it in our community.
Well, what are you planning on doing in improving the community? Once you get in, I say first 30 days, 60 days, what are you going to do to help improve the 7th District?
That's a great question. How long do I have today? I have some plans, okay? So I think the first and foremost thing is really aggressively attacking the dissension that has happened between the communities in the 7th District. This is the most ununified we've been in a very long time. And a part of that is because we're seeing communities being outright ignored by the current council person, community leaders not getting responses in phone calls or texts. He's not showing up. You know, he's picking and choosing. And then the anger that is existing between our communities is furthering us from being able to have the real power that we need, people-powered initiatives. So the first thing is I'm calling the truth. You know, white flag on the field. Let's pull all of our resources across the 40 communities together. Mm-hmm. Let's air it out and let's work together. And so it's a mindset shift first and foremost. I've been walking through, and I know Doc received some of my plans. I have a very comprehensive 4-year strategy. It starts with focusing on people, building partnerships, flushing out together the policies that the community has been begging us to implement for them, and then making sure we have processes that we can measure and data that we can stand on. And so some of the immediate things, and I guess we got to acknowledge Doc and Matthew A. Henson, it takes a fool not to be able to walk in that community and implement change immediately because they have it spelled out for you. They have the plans. Mm-hmm. They've met with the stakeholders. They have it written out. Now we just need the right champion to push go and to hold other officials responsible when they're not doing what the community is asked to do. And so the good thing about not being bought and sold is I don't care if these people get upset with me. So within 30 days of me being your councilwoman, I'll be knocking on doors. I'm going to be on the news, standing with Doc, standing with other community leaders, demanding either you you've moved forward with what you promised our community, or we're asking for your immediate removal. And we're not just then going to say we want them removed. Here's a list of vetted people who can take this person's job. See, the good thing about me having an HR background and being a manager in HR is I know how to replace people. I know how to move the wrong people out, put the right people in those positions to get the things done that the community needs.
Well, I have an HR question now that you brought that up. If this is what's going on, if you're a council person, I've let the other council people know about this, so they are aware about what's going on in regards to Baltimore City. I'm talking about the protest we're going to have on April the 30th. There's a policy regarding sick leave where if you get sick and you come back to work, that you will get an occurrence, which is a mark against you. Once you get enough occurrences or marks against you, then you will be disciplined, and the policy states that you have to have a pre-approved sick leave. Last time, I don't remember, it's been a while ago when I was working, I got sick. I don't remember having a crystal ball that told me a week or two that I was going to be sick on a certain day, so I'd have to take off. So you have to have a pre-approved, and you get a mark against you. It's called an occurrence. And you get enough of those, let's say you get ill or sick, then they can actually use those occurrences to fire you. And this is with you using sick leave and getting a doctor's note. You and HR, and you'll be in the city council, and you'll be hearing about this. What do you think about what I just told you?
So these are the types of discriminatory practices that lawmakers and legislators, and hopefully I have the honor to advocate against in Annapolis. I get tired of hearing that people taking buses to Annapolis and all we're talking about is making the chicken for the event. When we talk about sick leave, and we talk about what Maryland State requires and what they consider sick and safe leave accruals, women, men, and anybody in between who needs to take off because of their health conditions, and like you said, you don't often get a preemptive warning before you get sick. There are laws that are being broken in that case, and that's extremely discriminatory. This individual seems to be standing on discriminatory practices because no one has flushed out the areas of gray. And so what we need to do is, yes, we need to protest, but we need to go to Maryland State and say, we need clearer language. If they're not going to enforce it at the city level, then let's bring in the governor, let's bring in the Maryland Labor Board, and let's force clearer language so people are not discriminated against. The reality is, I could go out on sick leave, and you don't have to pay me. I've had situations where I've gone out on unpaid sick leave because my health was more important than whatever the $5 an hour I was making. So, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is people who are not qualified to advocate on behalf of the good people who work for the city. And anybody who is listening to this who doesn't see it's a very common sense solution. If I'm sick, if it's documented, and if I have the leave or not, you put me in the leave category that protects my job, and you allow me, human to human, to go out and take care of the things I need to take care of. When did we remove our human nature from how we manage?
Exactly.
So the person has to be sick. They have to deal with all of the pressure and stress of that. They may potentially miss work and pay, and then they have to come back and be harassed. It makes no sense to me.
Well, see, this is why we have Tori on, because we want our audience and people to know she is an intelligent woman. She's intelligent and she has a heart. So she's going to fight for you. And speaking of which, fighting for you, there's also, and I want people, because your answer was spot on. That's exactly what you do. But people need to understand that you have somebody in there now, the incumbent will not do anything to help folks in that. Nothing. James Torrance did nothing, so he has to go. He did nothing, and here's another thing. And people need to understand, need to listen to Miss Tori Rose, who's running for the 7th Council District. Need to listen. There's also a situation where if you're going to go and take a leave, vacation leave, where you're being told that you have to, in order to get or have a better chance of getting an approval on your leave, you have to give the paid receipts of your flight, your hotel, paid receipts, documentation of where you're going to the clerk of the court.
Yeah, that's discriminatory. It's extremely discriminatory, especially if this is not a work-related trip. I also want to bring up the fact that we have elected officials who travel on Baltimore City dollars all the time who are not being asked to show such proof. They're not asked to have the same level of oversight or accountability, and they're getting their travel paid for by Baltimore City. And so, again, we need people who are not in each other's pockets, who are not worried about the opinions of their friends, but who are willing to stand up and say, right is right, wrong is wrong. And in this situation, it's wrong. You know, I've worked for the federal government for well over 15 years. I've done consulting at the state level and at the city level. And we're never going to see things change if people are too afraid to speak up for what's right. I will always speak up for what's right. And as a woman, I'm going to especially speak up when women are being further marginalized, harassed, and discriminated against.
Great, fantastic. Good, Tori. I'm glad to hear that. Doc, what questions do you have for Tori?
I've been chomping at the bit. I'm so glad you got Tori Rose on. And folks, I want to say this very, very seriously, and hopefully those that are hearing it know how serious I am about this. I've been a registered voter since 1971. I've lived in this district all my life. I've never seen and heard and read the documents responding to the things that our community needs better done and responded to by any other candidate better than Tori Rose. She responded to our questionnaire, 18 questions. I don't know what record you could give somebody better than 100. If it's a 1 to 100 is the top grade you can get. Well, she got 100 plus, and sadly enough, James Torrance would not even respond because he would probably fail on all 18 of the issues. Folks, I've never seen a candidate that is so well prepared, so honored to be able to say she wants to represent us. She wants to help us. She understands our concerns and problems. And I'm saying, folks, and I have to say this personally, I'm not standing as a 501c3 president, but I am saying this to you very seriously. We will do great things under Tori Rose as our council person. We definitely need her. This guy that we got in office right now, you know, we should have him kidnapped, not hurt, but kidnapped and taken out of our area because there's nothing he has done to help any of us. Nothing.
Run out of town on a rail.
If I can say something, it's interesting because although I don't endorse the kidnapping of any council, what I will do,
he's joshing.
I do point out the fact that Doc is making an amazing point, and I said this last night. I was at a forum, a meet and greet that they held for me up at New Shiloh, and I said, only in our communities do the wrong people get elected, and we say, oh wow, I guess that's who we have for the next 4 years. Let Yitzi had lost his election in 2020. You would have seen protests unlike any other. You would have seen stores closed, services not being rendered in his community because they make the decision on who they want to represent them.
Yes.
And I'm going to say to those people in 21216, 17, 15, and parts of 11, get engaged in what's happening. Stop just complaining when things don't go the way you think they're supposed to do. You complain within your circles, but you're not doing it at a level that really is getting change. When I came in second in 2020, I had people walking up and down Appleton and walking through my community saying, wait a minute, I voted for you. They would see me out. They said, who do I need to call? See, that's the outrage. Wait, you want proof? Did you really lose? Was it legitimate?
Yes.
And there's still questions on the legitimacy of me coming in second last time. And so, if there was a way for us to be more outraged as a people when our elected officials don't represent us. We should be able to ask for them to be removed.
There should be a remove and replace.
I'm proud to say I voted for Tori 4 years ago. I had her gorgeous-looking poster on the front of my house. And
oh, man.
I'm going to make certain between now and Election Day that I reach out to at least one voter every day. I'm not talking about every week. I'm talking about every day and telling them, if you don't know who Tori Rose is, I'm going to take you to where she's going to myself so you can meet someone that's going to really serve us, and we really need to get her elected. Folks, I'm saying very candidly, we cannot do better. We must put Tori Rose in office. We need her.
And we need to have eyes on the voter machines, 24-hour surveillance on the voter machines, Board of Election. We need to have that, and we need to have an audit that's done for any ballots that just pop up or come in or don't look right. And we need to have that done because, Tori, I'm going to tell you this, Armstead Jones and I had it out. We went toe-to-toe, and this was with the Board of Elections, State Board of Elections. Oh, and I have the receipts. And yes, I had flash drives missing. Reason in the machines, you searched in the machines for the flash. This is news. This is what he said. I'm not saying anything that wasn't said by Armstead Jones. He said there were flash drives missing. I forgot how many. And then they had to go into the machines.
I got good news. I got good news.
What was that, Doc?
Armstead Jones is out on sick leave.
Hallelujah. Now that I will clap for real.
And I'm going to tell y'all, my best friend in life happens to be the president of the Baltimore City Election Board. His name is Sherrod C. Barnes. I trust this brother with my life. And if I think that anything is going wrong, trust me, I'm going to go to him. But I'm saying, I'm not glad that Armstead is sick, but I'm so glad we got someone running the election board right now that is trustworthy. But I know this, folks. Tori Rose, we can't lose with not supporting her. We're going to suffer if we don't elect her. We need to elect Tori Rose. If you haven't met her, come and meet her. This girl is fantastic. She's going to go even further once we get her into the city council.
Exactly. Tori, you have anything else to tell the people? Any email addresses, websites?
Yes. So thank you all. Thank you both for having me here. Anybody can write down at a computer and type up a plan. And I do, expect to be held according to what I said I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. But the strategic plan is much more than a plan. It's a promise, and it's a commitment to action. And too frequently we see individuals who will verbally say what they're going to do, but they won't put it in writing because they don't want to be held accountable. I want you to hold me accountable as the co-worker that you can count on at City Hall. Also, I believe wholeheartedly, as someone who was born and raised in West Baltimore and knows the potential of our community, and I know how we can pull ourselves together, and we've done it. We're resilient in that way. With focused effort, community collaboration, I know that the 7th District can come back as that beacon of hope and progress. We can also be the, let's say, poster child, or we can be the pilot community for the city. There's opportunity here for us to lead this city, and I believe that. And so please, if you are interested in getting to know me more, go to the website. It is www.votetoryrose.com. If you want to email me, it's Rose, the number 4, B as in boy, MORE, so Rose for Be More, at gmail.com. But let me tell you something. If you engage me with a complaint, I'm going to ask you, how do we together work on a solution? So don't come to me just ready to vent if you're not ready to work. Because I believe that we're going to do it better together. Thank you guys so much.
So I want Tori to hear this.
Okay.
Because this is coming from my heart more than anything else. Tori Rose has the capability of being the phoenix for our district, folks. She has the ability to be the phoenix, the rising back up of a suffering neighborhood that we have suffered for 4 years under James Torrance. I think and know without a doubt that Tori Rose can make the difference.
Well, on that note, Tori, thanks for coming on The Outsiders, and we will be in full support of you to get rid of Pigpen. So we will be in full support of you, and we'll keep in touch, okay?
All right, you have a good day. I'll see you on the 30th.
Okay, take care. Doc, that was something else. How did you like that?
I'm fired up about this young lady. I'm really hoping and praying. I can't say I'm going to vote early and often, but I'm going to encourage as many people as I can. This young lady is amazing. She's in it. She understands our challenges. She's been in the middle of it. And we can do and must do better. And the best way to do something better is to put someone in office. I don't know a damn thing that James Torrance has done for my community. And I'm the biggest community in Baltimore City, folks. I have 36,000 people here. We haven't seen James Torrance. He has literally done nothing for us.
Nothing for nothing gets you nothing. And that's what James Torrance, that's what Doc's saying he's done. He hasn't seen him. What has he done? Nothing. Nada. Nix. I mean, so this guy...
We look at crime. What has he done? Nothing. We look at liquor stores. What has he done? We've had homicides, the #1 homicide, folks. We've had 28% homicides increase. And you heard that coming from James Torrance? We had contaminated water. Have you heard anything about it? We had a rec center that was closed down. Did we hear anything about it?
Nothing.
We had a voting place that was turned down. I could name after issue that this boy has done nothing to help us. Didn't even know what a food desert was, and there was afraid to debate me as to what a food desert was. Ask the Afro. I'm not telling you a lie, folks. This guy has done nothing. Has he done anything to help us with our skateboard park? No. The answer is no. For James Torrance.
Nothing. No for James Torrance. And this is what I'm going to segue into. I want to get into this. There's a few more points, few more things we're going to talk about, folks. This is.
I'm sorry I'm so fired up.
Well, both of us have been fired up on this podcast, so you're just riding right along with it, Doc. But I want to get into somebody who is no good to people, who is allegedly doing the dirty in a major way, who is a mayor and a supervisor of a town, who's the epitome, the quintessential bad, poor, vile politician that you do not want to have in office, like so many of the ones we have here in Baltimore City. So I'm going to go ahead and cue this up. Tiffany Henyard. Let's go. Tiffany
Henyard. She is the mayor of Dalton, Illinois, and what's known as the Thornton Township Supervisor. She makes in those two public roles about $300,000 per year. Now, Tiffany Henyard doesn't like people to know that she's making close to $300,000 a year, so she just lies about it.
In addition to leading Dalton, she also serves as supervisor of Thornton Township.
You make almost $300,000 between your two elected positions.
I do not. I don't know where you got that number from.
We got it from her own village and township records.
See who's actually telling the truth. The super mayor eventually comes clean and says, all right, I'm making close to $300,000 for part-time work.
It came with the salary, which everybody prior to me received.
Now, are both of those deemed full-time jobs?
Well, no, part-time.
So you now know Tiffany Henyard is an absolute liar because she does make almost $300,000 a year, but she lies compulsively.
You make almost $300,000 between your two elected positions.
I do not. I don't know where you got that number from.
Now, on top of that, she is destroying the finances of both the village of Dalton and Thornton Township. Let's start with Thornton Township. Now, in Thornton Township, where she's supervisor, the township has a $5 million budget deficit as reported last year by the Chicago Tribune. Now, Thornton Township is a mess. But we haven't even talked about the village of Dalton where she's mayor. In that city, we're talking about a $7 million budget deficit.
Now, Lori Lightfoot, you remember her, the former Chicago mayor, will be paid not one, not two, not three, but $400 an hour to investigate Dalton, Illinois Mayor Tiffany Henyard, dubbed by some, Henyard that is, as the worst mayor in America for allegedly using taxpayer money on travel and luxuries and retaliating against businesses by using the police. Here is Lightfoot on her planned investigation. Listen.
As a lawyer and former federal prosecutor,
and mayor, I bring expertise in leading investigations of this kind and understand the complex challenges of governing.
In hiring the person dubbed the worst mayor in America a couple of years ago to investigate the current worst mayor in America, but
yeah, that is. I mean, Lori Lightfoot, what she did to Chicago. Now they're hiring her $400 a pop an hour to investigate Tiffany Henyard, who is, I guess she has the title as the worst mayor. Hey, Brandon, you know, Tiffany Henyard, worst mayor. Well, if it wasn't for Tiffany Henyard, it'd be you. So it would be you. You'd be the worst mayor. I mean, 15% reduction each year of my term, and 15% reduction each year of your term. 15% reduction in homicide and fatal shootings each year of your term. You failed miserably, Brandon. Brandon, you failed miserably. He did show me respect at the Baltimore Unity when he ran out, Unity Center, when he ran out, the 7-year-old girl got shot. And in the city where he's saying that, you know, things are so much safer, and Monty and all these crime programs are working so well, and Safe Streets, crime reduction strategy, all of them working so well. He couldn't even, he was, 2 seconds into the forum on Saturday, shot out, no pun intended. I feel the little girl's family, I feel so sorry for her having to go through that. But living in Brandon Scott City, and Kenji Scott. Oh yeah, I gotta say this, Kenji Scott. Kenji, have you lost your mind? Who do you think you're messing with? You're gonna put out on Twitter that I took joy and glee in a 7-year-old girl getting shot? Have you lost your mind? Yeah, and then he blocked me so I couldn't respond. The LOL, Kenji, had nothing to do with the little girl. It was about the stupid, ridiculous comment you made about Brandon being this great mayor. That's what the LOL was for. And you tried to twist it, you sick son of a nameless goat, to make it look like I was laughing at the little girl getting shot. That's what this low-life scumbag, Kenji Scott, did. And I put it on Facebook. I copied and pasted from Twitter the whole conversation, okay? And then I put it on Facebook so people can see what kind of scumbag Kenji Scott is. And that's what you try to do. You try to defame me by trying to make it look like I was laughing at the 7-year-old girl who got shot, you rat bastard. Don't, you know what, Kenji, don't, I'm saying this. Stay away from me. Let me put it that way. Okay? Okay? Look at me. Don't come anywhere near me, Kenji. You understand? You understand? Okay? I got your attention, and I'll leave it at that. Doc, that's what this rat bastard did. Okay.
Let's move on. I think our listening and viewing audience feels you as well.
Yeah, let's move on.
We're gonna pray that this goes by. But this deals with some more of this great shirt you got today.
Yeah, I had to get that off my chest, because when you go and you do something like that, I'm going to call you out, because I name names and I'm going to call you out. So anyway, I took care of that, Kenji.
Well, that was like I felt the other day. I was at the town hall where the Board of Estimates was there, and I was able to look in the face the mayor, the president of the city council, and the controller. I was able to see all three. I tried to look at each one of their eyes to let me see them, because they are part to blame now. That I went before the Board of Estimates and let them know we were shovel ready to build a skateboard park, and the three of them are a part now of an accessory to stopping black kids from having a skateboard park. And you wonder why 20 kids are carjacking. You wonder why kids are shooting kids in Mondawmin. You wonder why in the front of New Shiloh Church a car was stolen. This is happening in the Western District because you elected officials, I'm talking about you, Brandon, I'm talking about you, Nick, and I'm talking about you, Bill. You are failing these black kids, and they know it, and they are responding.
They're responding to your failures. You got your little suits on, and you eat your nice meals, and and you don't like certain things that are being said about you. Who gives a crap what you like? Well, you're there in order to serve the people, not serve yourself, which is what you're doing, self-service. And that's why these kids and these young men and people are acting up like this, because they see the leadership, they don't care. They don't care. So that's what you get.
If these elected officials will stop coming to events after the fact. Yeah, I know the mayor comes after
the fact.
Yeah, I know James Torrance comes, and all of them are merely taking Kodak moments. Well, folks, let's do Kodak moments before things happen, not after things happen. Let's walk through the neighborhoods and hear what the neighbors need. See what the neighbors are asking for. Don't keep coming after every event. That don't do a damn thing for us. Come to these neighborhoods, starting with mine. I'm the biggest thing in Baltimore City. We haven't seen either three of you, the mayor, the comptroller, or the president of the city council. We have not seen you in 4 years.
But they like photo ops, though. They like those photo ops after something bad happens. Now,
I'm sorry. We did see James Torrance April of last year when he promised he was going to fix the water for our park and playground. That was a year ago. Guess what? The water hasn't been fixed. So I made a mistake. Torrance has been to our neighborhood.
Okay.
He was here last April and lied to us then.
Wow. Well, that seems to be his theme. Let's segue into this. Speaking of problems and issues, now we had the event, I call it the event, where a cargo ship lost power, and then for whatever reason the ship had lost power, but somehow with the loss of power managed to turn right and plow into a support of Key Bridge. Even though just plow right in it. And then you got the mayor, Brandon, talking about, don't look at the video, don't look at the video. And then I said, you know what, why is this guy, why is he whining and crying about not the real reason, not because of the family issue? And I pray for the families and what they're going through. But why is he all adamant, and so was Wes Moore, the governor, not to look at the video? So you know what I did, Doc? I went and pulled the video up because they were so adamant not to look at it. So I went and looked at 3 or 4 or 5 different videos of this cargo ship slamming into the Key Bridge, at least the support beam. And I saw that, wait a minute, this ship is going one way, then it made an immediate right turn and then slammed into the support. It looked like to me, the way it looked to me, it was done on purpose. And everyone I talked to who saw that video said the same thing. I'm not the only one saying it. They said the same thing. It looks like the ship was going one way, and then it made an immediate right when it got to that support and slammed into it. And I think maybe that might be a deflection. I know the FBI is looking into it and all kinds of things are going on, but people need to know this. I'm segueing into this. They need to know this about the shipping. And it's not just what's going on at the Key Bridge area and the harbor, but keep people, listen up, pay attention to this, because this is what is a really big deal. Let me cue it up. Okay.
American consumers, they could soon see higher prices on many of the things we buy, due in part to major shipping delays over at the Panama Canal.
Tonight, billions of dollars in trade to and from the United States is in jeopardy at one of the world's most important shipping routes, the Panama Canal.
The Panama Canal, a triumph of engineering and human ingenuity over a century ago,
now finds itself grappling with an unprecedented crisis. Over 200 ships languish in a queue, waiting for their turn to traverse the canal. The Panama Canal Authority, facing a dire situation, implemented drastic measures, reducing the number of ships allowed to transit by 50% and restricting each vessel's weight capacity by 40%. This has prompted some ships to unload cargo, resorting to rail transport to cross the canal. The origins of this crisis trace back to July 2023, when the Panama Canal Authority sounded the alarm about a crucial artificial lake in Panama's inland. The situation has only worsened since then, with vessels now waiting for almost 3 weeks. The economic fallout is substantial, disrupting global trade routes at a time when shipping companies in the United States, which transits 40% of its container traffic through the canal, are already facing challenges. To understand the present crisis, we must delve into the canal's history. The visionary French engineer Ferdinand de Lesseps, celebrated for his success with the Suez Canal, embarked on a project in Panama in 1880, Factors in Our Globalized World. It prompts reflection on the long-term sustainability of critical infrastructure projects in the face of climate change. As the world grapples with these challenges, the resolution of the Panama Canal crisis will undoubtedly set precedents for addressing similar issues in other parts of the globe. The fate of the canal hangs in the balance, not just as a conduit for trade, but as a symbol of resilience and adaptation in an ever-changing world.
Panama Canal, that's a situation, Doc. The Panama Canal is drying up. Ships have to wait. It's affecting global trade all over the planet. That's what's going on. So while we're looking at the Key Bridge, and that is at home here with what we have to deal with, and they're talking about the effects of it, in the meantime, no one's talking about the Panama Canal, Doc. Have you heard anything about it?
I would say this, one, I commend the governor and I commend the mayor. Yes, I'm commending them in the area for seeking legal representation to address what happened to our bridge. But I have one problem, and I think this is something that our U.S. Senator and U.S. Congressman should be addressing legally. If there is no financial limitation on how much these ship carriers and ship companies can make as a profit, then there should be no limitation as to how much they can lose if they bring damage, as they have done in this particular case. You know, that old law that they had dealing with water and travel and stuff, it needs to significantly change. These folks are making millions, if not billions of dollars as a result of transporting through the water. And I'm saying we need to address the shortcoming legally that there's a limitation as to how much money they can be sued for. Well, if there's no limit on how much money you can make, there should be no limitation on how much you gotta pay.
Well, that's that 1851 maritime law that I spoke about last week. I noticed that...
It was a good education last week.
Yes, I did. I noticed that Keith Daniels, who sent the text to me, challenging me, that was Keith Daniels of Fox 45, who, anybody who listened to last week's show, he's the one that sent the text. Doc, remember I told you, sent the text about information, having facts to send to him. I'm like, who does this guy think he is? I send stuff to the media all over the world. Nobody had the cojones to come back at me and challenge me like that. So I'm thinking, what is going on with this guy? He's going to come back and send me a text about what to send him. So I said, okay, you know what? Okay, you know what, Ace? You want to challenge me? Fine. Then they did a story about what? What did Keith Daniels do? After me, following me, a story about the 1851 maritime law, except the attorneys for the folks who, their families who perish, they brought it up, but it still was his story and they put it in there. After I, of course, the Outsiders, oh, that's Fox 45 following the Outsiders again. They've been following me since I've come on. So it's following me again and talking about 1851 maritime law. And Doc, you make a good point. It's 43.6, I believe, $1 million cap. That the company that owns the Dolly, I forgot the name, it escapes me, That's all they have. And now you're talking about $2 to $4 billion. Taxpayers' money. Ship ran right into the thing. But, and suspiciously, and there's a lot of suspicions about what went down. And hopefully we'll find out. Hopefully we will. I've got to also, these are trying times. Iran, formerly Persia, the Bible talks about the Prince of Persia. He's the individual who's really in charge of that area. It's called the Prince of Persia. It's in the book of Daniel. Block Daniel's prayers. The angel Gabriel, I believe, trying to give Daniel an answer to his prayers. Blocked him. Prince of Persia. Look it up. It's in the Bible. He's still around. And Iran decided to fire 300 to 400 missiles and drones at Israel. That's a country attacking another country. What would we do if Venezuela fired 300 or 400 missiles at the United States, Doc? What do you think we would do?
Well, we would do what we did in rendering assistance to Israel. We would use the technology that we have to protect ourselves. But I think, this really should tell us something, that people are warring, and I really think the United States is making some major blunders and getting too much involved in other wars that do not directly affect us. Yes, we need to help those that we are supportive of, but I think not Baltimore. I think the United States has to be very careful and cautious because we're spreading ourselves too thin, and we're having a war throughout the United States. Homicides and crime and violence and carjacking is up. We're not taking care of home, but we're helping. Millions and billions of dollars are being given to other countries to help them what they're doing, but we're suffering here in America.
Billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars being given. Look at what Ukraine got from us. Look at that con job with Ukraine. We've got people here we need to take care of. Now, being a Christian and all, we were supposed to pray for the protection of Jerusalem and the safety of Jerusalem. So that's what we're supposed to do. And any way that we can help, of course, I really, when it comes to Israel, I'm gonna deflect on that and say, you know what, I got to use my biblical principles, and God will favor you. And I like to be favored by God. I'm not perfect, Lord knows that, but I like to be favored. And I'll say that I'll say that much to that. But when it comes to Doc, I agree wholeheartedly. First and foremost, you are supposed to take care of your own home. Make sure your people are taken care of.
Take care of home first.
That's what you're supposed. That is what's. And now this is what's going on, and people don't know about this. Of course, the outsiders are going to let you know what's going on. I just found this out just a few hours ago, and let me go ahead and cue it up. Here we go.
An attack against Israel last Sunday. Intense explosions were heard tonight in Iran, Syria, and Iraq. An American official told the ABC network that Israel attacked targets in Iran, but did not confirm yet.
Okay, Israel, this is what's coming out. Israel has thrown a punch back. They attacked targets in Iran. So Iran, you don't start none, there won't be none. And this is the start. Let me go ahead and finish because there's a little bit more of what's going on over there and people don't know.
The attacks in Syria and Iraq. The Reuters news agency reported that this time Israel would inform the United States in advance of the move, in contrast to the ambiguity maintained in the Damascus attack. However, the sources clarified that Washington had no involvement in the attack, while in Israel, for the time being, no response has been given to the reports. This is not the whole story. Israelis suffered terrible emotional trauma from this attack, and on Thursday, we suffered another blow, this time an economic one. The S&P Global Rating Agency downgraded Israel's credit rating from AA- to A- with a negative outlook, indicating an expectation of further credit rating downgrades in the future.
They downgraded Israel's credit rating, Doc. People don't know about that. They downgraded their credit rating. That's another way to wage war, if people don't understand that. If you're going after a country that way, maybe Iran knew that would happen. Maybe that's why they attacked. I mean, there's so many, when it comes to geopolitical warfare, people don't understand how that works. I've been privy to some information. I'll leave it at that. Okay? And there's some serious things and repercussions that are happening. And I'm noticing with the bridge, and then Israel's attacked by Iran, and then you got the Panama Canal. These things are globally connected. What happened in Baltimore, it affects things in a global scale, and in a way people would never be able to comprehend. That's why I'm looking into what's going on with the Key Bridge situation, Keith Daniels. There's a reason. And you can keep following behind me. I'll be putting things out, facts, as you say, okay? But and this is what's going on. So, Doc, what do you think with this global credit rating? Uh-oh, Doc's call dropped. But the global credit rating of Israel dropping, I don't know what's going on with that. I think Doc had to run because he had a little bit of time. But I'm going to try him again. We lost my superstar co-host as we're getting ready to close. Hey, Doc.
I guess our show was too hot.
Yeah, it was too hot. Mossad cut us off. No, let me stop. but yeah, I was just letting everyone know there are global implications that are going on right now, and this is not a big giant world as big as it used to be, because we're all so connected now. And the outsiders, and we're gonna keep an eye on these things and what's going on, and the rally, the protest. We're getting ready to go, but the protest again. The Circuit Court for Baltimore City, Elijah Cummings building. There's going to be a rally of protest. Employees' lives and rights matter. Noon, April the 30th. Don't forget Elijah Cummings building. I'll be there. Doc will be there. Bishop Barry Chapman.
Fayette and Calvin. In case you haven't been to the Elijah Cummings building. Fayette and Calvin.
Fayette and Calvert. Some of the mayoral candidates will be there as well. Council person, she's vying for the council person. Hopefully I'll be able to say council person Tori Rose will be there as well. You can meet Tori as well. And we'd like to thank everybody for watching and listening to another episode of the Outsiders podcast. I'm your host,
Great
Sean
job,
Sims.
Sean. I guess I'm really excited about this. I love all the shows, but the fact that you had my shero, Tori Rose, I'm real excited.
Well, Doc, I'm glad you're excited, enjoyed it. I'm sure our audience has as well on YouTube and Spotify and iHeart. And thanks again, everyone, for listening and watching The Outsiders. God bless, and we'll see you next week. Take care, Doc.
God bless. Thank you.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.